it's not as bad as it used to be. See, I've got my silencing material on both sides of this door, this sliding barn door now. So it's not quite as bad as it used to be with the washer going. I can still hear it. It's driving me crazy. So, I know YouTube hates me doing these videos. They hate me doing videos. Actually, most people don't want to be a part of my page because I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to give you happy, fuzzy feelings. There are very few people that I do videos for. The rest is just my therapy, which no one out there should want to listen to what I need for therapy, because you see, my problem isn't stationed here. It functions here, but in reality, it's there. This has to do with my near-death experience. Every day since I came back, what I see in the world is the truth. And it used to give me, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I was constantly freaked out by the emotional upheaval that it would cause in me. And it was an emotional upheaval. I saw the truth right away. A lot of my mom's friends didn't like me because I told them, even in front of my mom, that that's a lie, or I know what you did. They didn't like me because I was rather not precocious, just very truthful. I had no awe of rank even then. When I came back, basically, the human language doesn't really have words. I can't convey the emotional content of what my life was like. Very empathic when it came to the reality of the world. When I was with my black friends and I got treated differently, even when I was 10 and me and Georgie Woods were in the ghetto, man, he got treated different than me. And you see, I was always raised to know that I was an American Indian. And I would sit in my bed. This is when I was between the age of 9 and 14. I got into this cultural, I was going to get to know my culture thing. And I got books on the Winneman Wintu, and then I found out that the government, my government, first they took the land by lying. Oh, we're going to do this. Bullshit. They didn't get compensated. I got $600 in 1964. That's what I got. I got $600 given to me from the government for my share of the Shasta Lake complex. Then I find out that, well, it wasn't just a few hundred years before that. They're paying people 100 years previous to that to scalp Indians, to chase Indians off land. They were looked at as a blockade to gold and timber and, all the things that the government and entrepreneurs want to do. I've showed pictures of the mountains that are here. You see, I'm very well versed in the mountainous areas of Northern California. Now, not southern, okay, from Sacramento, or from, let's just say, from Yosemite to the Oregon border. I've been in every little tiny waterway, creek, ditch, you name it, okay, with a metal detector. I know this area like the back of my hand, and I knew it was denuded. I knew how much timber and why we had the fires and why we couldn't hold water. It's because when you zoom in on Google Earth and you look at the Sierras up here, it's denuded. It is denuded. It is, you know, they leave little clumps, 5 clumps in each completely stripped area. Here's 5 little clumps of a couple of trees. That's all they have to leave. And so the snow lands, it melts, doesn't have a chance to soak into the ground. And yeah, it's bad for everybody in every way, including the planet. That is how I see the world when I go up and when I go to the forest. When I go camping at Hole in the Ground, I know that right over there's a denuded area that's fucking gigantic, but it's hidden by a line of trees that they leave in place. So when you're driving up through the mountains, all you see is this beautiful forest. When in reality, this entire area over here has been stripped of trees. It's a joke. It's a lie. That's how I've lived my life since I came back. It's hard. It's not easy. Before I actually got help, before I actually entered therapeutic help, I was very confused as to why I felt the way I did all the time. Why I made my mom's life so hard. Why I made society's life so hard. I mean, you name it. And it's because I always saw the truth. And unfortunately, you know, everybody tries as hard as they can. But the truth is that we're all flawed and fucked up. And if people that won't admit that, beware of smiling faces. No one's perfect. You see, my mom did the best she could. I understand that now. But as a kid, I did not, because what I saw was the truth and the reality of what was happening. No one was helping us. No one was helping us. You see, the law was going to force my mother into doing something that was going to harm my brothers and sisters. My half-brothers and sisters. And so she wouldn't do that. You see, the cops should have done their job. When I said, well, he choked her until she was unconscious. You see, if that happened today, he'd be in jail. They'd arrest him in a fucking heartbeat, and he'd be before a judge, and who knows where it would go from there, okay? When you choke someone unconscious with intent, like, he was just a jealous fuck, you know what I mean? So as a kid seeing this, I wasn't insulated by ignorance or naivete or any of that. I knew exactly what was going on, and it made me mad at my mom because she could have stopped it any time she wanted. So the causality of that is I don't talk to my 3 siblings that are his kids for that reason. Because the only time we had peace in our home was when they were with him out of our house. I never understood that. It took years of therapy for me to understand who and the what and the why I was. And it's because, as she put it, basically, I'm very empathic. It's hard to lie to me. My doctor told me he didn't like the way I looked him in the eye sometimes. He goes, people don't do that very often. I said, yeah, I know. But if I'm going to ask you a question that's important to me, I have to look you in the eye so I can see exactly what's going on. Most people don't like it, by the way. Ever since I was young, before my near-death experience, life was more happy-go-lucky and ignorant. I grew up instantly during that near-death experience because of what they allowed me to see. Basically, I was in shock for days. And I was pushing these pictures and memories away because the things I was saying was scaring my mom. And she told me not to pay attention to it. She didn't know what was going on. And I really blocked a lot of it out, just like I did, why I don't talk to my brothers and sisters. You know, I saw the reality of what had happened. It was too shocking, and I wasn't fooled by what my mother or other people said about my experience. I wasn't convinced by them that I didn't have this event. I knew the only people that cared about me, truly cared about me, and what my future was going to be were those beings that I just left. Every other human, okay, has instincts. There's nothing we can do about it. And to deny the animal, okay, is to let the animal reign. We are animals first, humans second. This is what makes the world the way it is. You must face that fact first. Well, okay, so we're killing the planet with carbon. How did we get convinced for the last 80 years that everything's okay, that climate change isn't real, and now all of a sudden you've got all these Shell and all these guys, yeah, we're climate warriors. You see, it's people not really wanting to live the truth. They'd go, yeah, I know that's what's happening, but I need my gas at $1.78 a gallon right now. That's the reality. That's what people said. Yeah, we're killing the planet, but I just want cheap gas. The system that is set in place forces this upon us. Right? You see, the reality is you're just a fucking cog in the machine, unless you're one of the handles cranking the cogs. And there's not very many handles. Lots of cogs. It's a circle, it's a grind, nonstop. It's meant to be that way. You see, but there's no maintenance on this machine. The handle's being furiously turned by very few fucking people, but there's no maintenance happening. And that's what's going on with our planet. You have these diseased, sick individuals who really feel that they're better, that people that can't feed themselves are bums and losers and less than human. That's how they think. That's how you exist, having billions of dollars while people starve. That's how you exist. You allow the animal to lead you like a fucking ring in your nose. It's truly evil. These are the things that I learned when I died. The way that my life unraveled was exactly what they showed me. All of it hard, ugly. But you can imagine how hard and ugly it looked when I was completely infused with love and understanding and knowledge, and the animal was gone. There was no animal. I was now truly a spiritual being, free of the animal. And the truth no longer really affected me. I could see the truth, and the truth was what it was, and there was a reason for it to be that way, and I just accepted it, and there was no pain and suffering, because where I was so different than this reality that sucks so bad. For all the wrong reasons. It's not like we can barely scrap a living out of our world because we're too close or too far from the sun. No, we're right in the perfect fucking spot. You see, I talk about life all throughout the universe, but it don't mean it's all up and down the street. Planets like ours are probably in the trillions, but when you look at the scope of the universe, that's not many. And we're spread pretty damn far apart. Life is precious. I was shown some very ugly things. in my near-death experience. That was basically, I remember that part of it visually more than anything else, because I tried to change my mind. I tried to change my mind. They showed me picking my mom until the day I drowned, and then they showed me from when I went back until this why in my life. And it was ugly. The things that I saw, each why had its own just bad picture of humanity, you know? No matter which way my life went, humanity wasn't going to get any better. It wasn't my fault it is the way it is. It's the animal. And I thought I'd been tricked, because they said, well, wait a minute, you said I could stay. And they said, that's what you chose. I was part of and parcel of all the ugliness I had been shown. But here, living with the animal up here, my little amygdala, I mean, I'm able to actually put up with it it's like a battering ram proof locked room in the middle of your head that allows you to live in this fucked up way, okay? And believe the lies, and to accept the fantasies, and to believe this whole corrupt fucking system, you know what I mean, in every way. It's hard for me to explain the difference between what I was feeling there as a little boy, truly, and what I was feeling as a little boy when they were showing me the reality of this world. And where I was, it was like having a magnifying glass on the ugliness. The ugly was truly ugly. I mean, there was no wool being pulled over my eyes when they're showing me this whole scene in incredible detail. The animal, he's the one that makes you see blackness when you think about your death. The animal is the one that wants you to be afraid of your mortality that every man will face. Sooner or later, everybody ends up in the same place, and it's designed that way. It's a beautiful thing. It is meant to happen. We're just part of a process here, okay? This reality we live in, I mean, it's not as it appears. Nothing is as it appears. And we're just too taken by our animals, you know what I mean, as a human society. If we can get past that, we have a chance. But you see, my whole life experience, from the evil stepdad all the way through my painful injuries and dealing with the government, medicine, law, family, I mean, all the things that people end up interacting with in your life, you know what I mean? There was no wool over my eyes the whole time. Every which way I looked, I saw the evilness and the disgusting animal way that humans conducted this earth. This sucked. You don't have to be afraid of death any more than you should like any of this. You see, there are people that just, I mean, they're desperate to live every day because they're rich. And you see, their fear of loss of life is so much greater than others, because they feel they deserve to live forever. I've got billions of dollars. See? They truly believe they're better and different. and they are, but unfortunately not in the way they think. They are different. The animal is in control. There's no spiritual Gandhi living in any of them. And that is all this next existence is. There is no animal. There's no the fear, the pain, the suffering, the need, the want, the anger. All of that is gone. If people could have the near-death experience, everyone, all of us in one day, the world would change. Even the most horrible people would be affected positively. It would change the planet. People would understand how small and insignificant they are when it comes to the future of humanity. It's important that humanity continue to grow and become a part of this great organization out there so that one day, our ancestors, without fake gods and all this other bullshit, okay, can understand what this next dimension is. Why we're a quantum machine. And it will be easier for them to live because the fear of death will have gone. As soon as, you see, if everybody knew that there was something after this, but you see, they want it to be like this existence. It's bizarre. They want heaven to be someplace where they can go and be happily ever after with I'll be rich in heaven or 30 virgins or whatever it is, okay, that people think. It's not. That's all human shit there. This is a different dimensional state. It is so outside of being human once the animal is removed that without those people there, without those beings there, okay, to protect and to control my mind, I don't know what would have happened. I really don't. Having all knowledge, I was still just a little boy. Quite clearly, I remember being just a little boy. It's just that I had all these sophisticated questions for some reason that really needed answering. It was important that they answer these. And they answered every single question that I posed to them. And it was like bam, 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 bam. Even the big question. They were controlling me. They were not allowing me to experience this total place. That's how most near-death experiences are. They're met at a portal or a place of beauty or whatever, is mainly cultural or societal or family driven. And they experience this incredible feeling like I had, and they don't care about their family they left behind. That's how different it is. That's how much more superior in spirituality and intelligence and rationality and love and understanding, comprehension, caring about every other living thing in the universe to a degree that you would be incapable of in any other place. Wouldn't hurt a bug, in other words. It's an existence I can't explain. I wish I could. The words leave me. I try to tell these little stories to explain to you how deep the emotional and mental content of these things were, and how I felt and how I relate to it in my life and all my life experiences. But it's hard. It's really not enough. That animal part of us is controllable. The problem is this fucking system that's been set in place by people who need and want more, okay, It's designed in every single way to tug and pull on that constantly. It's meant to control that. It's meant to it's designed to make this function the way that this system, it's not any individual or even groups of individuals. We're well past that. Okay, this fucking system is now in place, running full speed ahead towards a dead end. And there's no off ramps because this animal, we can't get rid of that in 50 years or 100 years of evolution. Not going to happen. We might get terrified and mortified and everything else by the condition of our planet in 50 years, but it's not going to change the animal that's up there. It'll still be being controlled, run, operated by its needs. It is what makes you fear death. It is what makes you fear death. It's why death terrifies billionaires, because when they look, what they see is nothing. They see an emptiness. See? Their animal contains no spirituality, and it terrifies them. And so they have to have these giant yachts and 747s and all this shit to make them feel fulfilled in some way. When in reality, if you took that $500 million and fed people, you would feel fulfilled. But the animal's never going to allow that. And for me, that's just terrifying. That is one of the ugliest things that they showed me, was the ability for humans to have hundreds of billions of dollars as people starve to death. And their egos go batshit fucking crazy because they're superior. And therefore they should be considered and listened to over everyone else. And their rights are more important than your rights. It's obvious. Look at who I am and what I have. It's obvious you should be listening to me because you have nothing. That's really how their animal thinks. So I know this isn't what most near-death people that want to hear my near-death experiences want to hear about, but this is all part and parcel of it. How it affected me in my life. How it forced me to see this world for what it was. Like when I got the shit beat out of me by Mr. Lasnabat at Hillcrest School in Rodeo, California. I was beat to a point where he would be arrested and serve 10 years in prison. It looked like an attempted murder more than it did a child abuse, but I was bruised from the back of my knees to the top of my lower back, purple and yellow. When I got home from the beating. And then, you see, for them to not understand that at that exact instant, when he's beating me and I'm like, you know what, fuck you. I'm not saying shit. He wanted me to say I lied, that I didn't write that poetry. And I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction. It's the same way I've been doing my mom. For letting my stepdad fuck with us. I'm like, fuck you, man. You can beat me until I'm fucking pass out. I'm not saying shit. And the more that I denied him and the less noise that I made, the harder he fucking hit me. And I could tell he was a disturbed individual. That motherfucker was. John Lasnabat. Yep, he was a disturbed fucking person, man. I should sue that fucking school today. They even sent people out to test me to try to prove that I lied, that I didn't do that poetry and shit, because I think they were afraid my mom was going to sue them into fucking oblivion. And so my IQ was tested at an early age. They were trying to prove that I was something different than what I was. And that was, all because of my near-death experience. That made me who I was. It affected me every single day of my life. The first 5 years of making my mom take me to every damn possible religion and church on the planet. Because I needed to find just even the tiniest little fraction of what I had felt. And of course that's why we exist. Of course that's why this has to be. Because when I asked them why this place had to be like this, the answer they gave me was so simple and full of love and understanding. and I was blown away by its simplicity and how it was the most godly thing that even there I could conceive of. God is extremely cool. Okay. Yeah. He gives us so many opportunities and chances. We have free will. You see, the problem is that we created this reality beforehand. All of our choices and decisions predetermined, and we are now observing them and watching them play out as this information is broadcast in from some infinite source. And that's not my theory. That is the current accepted theory for our reality right now, the holographic principle of reality. And I see the world differently. When I look around the room and I see like my steering wheels or whatever, you know what I mean? I understand that they are a construct. It's necessary, a construct that's necessary. It's weird. It's so far beyond human comprehension that I could sit here for the next 50 years and try to explain it to you, and it's never going to happen. What I can hope is that through itty bitty little tiny stories over and over the next 15 years or 20 years, like the people that have been here, they understand the story never changes, everything is always the same, but I still manage to try to explain it in a different way each time. I always attempt that. I don't always succeed, but that's not important. It's the attempt. I'm supposed to try to explain it to you so that you don't fear death. The reason to fear death is that you truly don't believe that there's something that comes after this. And all you have to do is look at the strangeness of our existence. The way microtubules function, the fact that every one of the tiny little molecular machines in our body that make everything work are all held together by hydrogen bonds, and hydrogen was the most plentiful element in the universe, I mean, it's all a little coincidental, don't you think? That these machines self-assemble? What came first? The chicken or the egg? What came first? The machine that copies the DNA or the DNA? It's meant to be this. It's meant to be. This machine is designed to create life. And there's been life in this universe for billions and billions of years, and some of those beings are visiting our planet. That's one of my the most wonderful things in my life is my UFO experiences, and I can't deny that that's a very fulfilling part for me to know that, well, not every life form in the universe is like us. There's life forms who've made it. There's life forms who made it, and I'll guarantee you probably there's a lot of them that didn't, but the ones that make it, they're not like us. They don't exist for the same reasons we exist, so that some motherfucker can have a giant boat. Okay? That I will guarantee you. So, I think next time what I'm going to talk about is what I saw when I was there. The physicality of what I saw when I was there, and why the symbology of it. Especially the old guy on the bench, and why he was on a bench, and why he was dressed the way he was.